Just a minute, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Share the screen. Okay, share. Okay, I'll press share. Okay, the screen is shared. Okay, now I go to the PPT. Then I'm going to make the slideshow. Now you are seeing. Okay, sir?
Now you are through. Now you are through. Go ahead.
Okay, friends, let me quickly go because I just have half an hour time. I'll be speaking very, very fast. And I think you should manage with my speed. Now, the topic was how to connect the soil, plant and human health. See, now, there is a very famous book by the great legendary Madhvacharya. He calls it as Sadachara Smriti. That means, what are the Sadachara? What are the things you have to take care? See, why should we keep our house clean? So, is it that if you keep your house clean and you are going to litter around the Swachh Bharat and make it Aswachh Bharat? So, it is not like that. So, now we will see what relationship the soil health, the plant health and the human health has got something to do, and what are the, as technical officers and as scientists and as respected citizens of this country, what is that we can definitely do upon, and what sort of awareness could we create. And I find our Dr. Mandakranta Madam also in this particular group. Thank you, ma'am. She is the one who will be advising us on, the do's and don'ts. And many issues are also interrelated here. You cannot separate soil science from extension, and then you cannot remove entomology separately. See, always I used to say that the departmentalization of the education and the research, extension and things, this is a little cause of worry. Obviously, for research and other purposes, we need departmentalization, we require focus. But at the same time, when it is applied on the social system, I think it's an integrated approach and the take-home lessons which are more important. And then at the end of the day, see, every time when I ask my daughter, every time I ask a question, hey, what science is there in what you're talking? What logic is there in what you're talking? What application can be there? So like this we play games. So very quickly I will go, and all these are for, See now, when the corona came, people, I had a chance to see the Bengaluru pre-corona and post-corona and mid-corona. Oh my God, the consumerism was so high, You should have seen the Vaishnavi malls and so many other malls filled with people recklessly going here and there. The same thing, about 100 years back, or somebody said it's very orthodox, and then you keep clean, you don't touch people. People said, hey, come on, it's all liberalization, man. It's about consumerism. We are just going to do all sorts of things. See, now, people are shit afraid, and they put a mask, and then 2 gaj ki duri, mask hai jaruri. Jab tak koi dawai nahi, tab tak koi khilai nahi. Are, jab dawai aa bhi gayi hai, even if the dawai is there, see, people are today afraid of death. People are I see that nobody really wants to die. Okay, this is the one thing which they are afraid. They are not afraid of the police. They are not afraid about any bosses, organization. But if somebody says that you are going to die in under 2 days, they are very afraid. So, therefore, today's class, I am not going to give you a threat or anything. My only aim is to give you an awareness that how, indiscriminately we have been doing all these things, and how we can make our own lives a better place with a good plant, soil and human health. So, this is the whole focus. See, look at this very famous things from the Bhagavad Gita. It says, from Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. You are born, you die, you live again and again. But what is the one which we keep telling? Why was this human form of life given? See, because the human form of life is given for you that you have the Viveka. People name their children as Viveka, Vivechana. That means you can make your life as a better place. For example, the cow or an animal cannot do a Swachh Bharat campaign, or it cannot run a campaign because, obvious limitation. But when the human form is given, unfortunately, it is the human beings who actually spoil the nature more than them. Because of their brains, instead of using it for a very constructive purpose, they have been using to destroy the nature. And I don't think that everybody is destroying the nature with ignorance. I am not sure. Purposefully, many people do it, and people want to, eliminate this competition, and they don't want everybody to have very safe and drinking water. Only the rich, famous, and the one who can access the social and other natural resources. So they are going to do it. So therefore, we say thus, Dukkhalayam Ashaswatam. That means all your ill health of this human health is created, many of them by you only. And I am not today telling that technology is bad or Haber's process was bad, then organic farming is good. I am not here to tell you all that. But how the relationship between the soil, plant and the human health can be taken care. Okay, now very quickly you go already, I think our doctor madam is also here, and then there are many soil pollution leads to cancer, malaria, because especially the leachates which go into the soil. And today soil has become a dumping ground. You see, even when I come from a house to Hessaraghatta, there is a place called Tarbanahalli, that's where all our water resources are getting pumped. Oh my God, you should see on the left and the right side. Okay, cholera, dysentery, skin and stomach infections. Even it is affecting fertility. Today's people are not able to have not the number of children, but the faster rate of reproduction like the olden days people used to have. So let us quickly go ahead, friends. So many of the leachates, it may be lead, it may be arsenic. I think my other friends have already told you. See, all these things can definitely be avoided. And today, why did the chance of drinking mineral water and the reverse osmosis water come? And you end up paying about 20 rupees a bottle, or even about 100 rupees in an airport. So all these things have come because we have failed to keep our environment. See, you and me can afford a mineral water bottle, but do you think everybody can afford? So somebody, especially people from West Bengal, there's a lot of arsenic toxicity in North 24 Parganas. So I was in North 24 Parganas, and you know how the arsenic leachates and toxicity is going to affect people. So very quickly we go. See, now when you dump everything into the soil, obviously this is a chain. This is the uptake chain and the mineral chain, and I can also call it as a mini food chain. The same nutrients are taken, and again you eat it, and then again it gets composed. That's why, when I use the word punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, that means it is just like our computer, garbage in, garbage out. So you put a garbage into it, and definitely you think that you are eliminating your garbage. So, it is just like your own feces, you end up eating it, because again, through the soil, it gets recycled and you come. See, now, what are the various toxic elements which can come in a soil? Obviously, 31% heavy metals, 20% mineral oil toxicity, 7% and hydrocarbons contributing to 42%. So now, look at this particular figure. You can find such figures everywhere. See, on one hand, we talk about Swachh Bharat, and dilapidately and tangentially, and at the corollary part of it, you have the other things also going on. So lead poisoning, many symptoms people know. But then all this is also coming because, very, very nicely the old people used to say, Ayo, nam kaldal bada chanagittu. That means they say that, when in our days, we had very good food. We had organic food. We had nati koli, or we had something without diseases. And many people also keep commenting that today's food is all poison. Today's food is all corrupt, or today's food is all not so worth it. So to some extent they are definitely correct, and largely how to manage these issues. So when it is arsenic poisoning, I told you some places of West Bengal, and then you have even this fluorine toxicity in places like Pavagada, even in Nalgonda district. There is a Nalgonda technique where the charcoal, the peat, they pass the water through that, and by the ionization part, all the fluorine is removed. But definitely, we used to go to Nalgonda district during our PRA exercises at NAM, and then we were telling, sir, this Nalgonda technique, I think Shivananda would definitely, and many of our soil scientists would have told you, this is standardized only for the drinking water. But definitely the Nalgonda technique has to be standardized, or it needs much more technology refinement when it comes to irrigation water, because it is the irrigation water source which also go. See, there are two types of leachates or something which can go in the soil. One is the bedrock or the mineral which is already there. You and me cannot do it. And the other one is the toxicity which is coming because of mismanagement and all these things which we are dumping into the soil. So obviously, when the very high ozone levels, what's going to happen is the muscles contract and all these issues which are health issues, So that is how the relationship is there. So kindly do not think that by keeping my house clean, I can dump away all the things. See, today the BBMPs come with the green and the red bags, the dry waste, the wet waste, many things are there. And obviously, I am not saying everybody is very indiscriminate, and I am not going into that negative sort of thing. And definitely, there is a lot of awareness, but definitely our young children and the future generation and the producers, farmers, all put together, we need to create a integrated awareness that, you know, these three are interrelated. A soil is not independent, and the human health is not independent, and the air is not independent. Just like we say, the Panchabhutas, the land, the air, the water, all those issues, the human elements. So that's why we say, whenever we keep our 5 elements very clean, you have got a better, good life. Obviously, the medical aspects I told. And then, even in the environmental system, okay, there are so many, measures, there are so many punishments, fines, everything people have tried, both for the emission, and then you should not contaminate your thing because it has a health hazard. Okay, that people do, especially, the runoff erosion and then that going into the aquifers. Okay, there is a lot of contamination going here because ultimately it comes into the food supply. So, there was a study where the urban soil and the rural soil, even today, when people want to go for an outing, they go into some resort or they go to the rural side because definitely the air, the soil and water, they're all contaminated in cities. People are fed up along with the sound pollution also. People have health issues. See, when you are in city, what happens? I keep seeing my own. People get irritated. They are heavily busy, pressed for time, or their food is not good, or they don't eat food in time. The moment they go to the roadside, countryside, some good, they start singing some lullabies and good songs and so on. So obviously there is a relationship between not only the mental health, I can even say that the psychological, mental health and the physical health of the human being is largely dependent on the soil and the plant and the things what we eat and the things what you put. So all these things can be definitely a better place. So people found out even what are the residues in various fats, fish, beef and all that. Very high levels of toxicity has been found. So dioxin levels also been increasing day by day. And then average intake of many of these contaminants in our food. Okay, see why people are coming to the organic see even today organic foods are very costly. You and me cannot afford it. Or somebody, a very rich guy could take totally organic food. See, because there is a certification in place which says that it is grown on these conditions. And people used to ask, why is that the roadside idli costs only 10 rupees and the same idli in a 5-star hotel costs you 300 rupees. So every time I used to ask this question to my wife, and she used to say, look at the ambience, look at the way the chefs are designed and the way the chefs are serving you. See, on the roadside you can catch any infection right from corona to cholera to whatever, and it's a very high risk on some things. But in spite of all that, people still want to venture out because there is some fun over there. So therefore, there is a relationship between the soil, plant and the human health. And then especially the workers who are exposed at a very high elevated levels and people who eat a lot outside, people who would like to do this. So therefore, there's a lot of relation within that. So many of the actions of the dioxin I listed, it's all for you. And then many carcinogens are there. Obviously, wherever, some stagnant water is there, malaria gets spread. And now, people are shit afraid of corona and everybody is wearing a mask. And very, very, people have become very afraid. I think they have become more disciplined in the past 1 year. Earlier, I am not saying they were very indisciplined, but I am just short to say that they were indisciplined. So I mean to say that. I don't mince words here. So now I see a more disciplined lot with some social distance, no hugging, no shaking hand, and no socializing, balles and all that. So sometimes even the glucose tolerance, see many times this glucose tolerance that I think our Dr. Madam used to say, see the glucose, people, see knowingly or unknowingly, we are not taking this junk food or, and in everywhere, this glucose consumption is also level. The hormone levels are decreasing very, very alarming rate. And I told you about the fertility and things like that. All these are effects of this. And even there are a lot of water pollutants. Okay, when you expose, there's a lot of risk. You can reduce it. So these are some of the things which you and me know. But what I wish to say is how to avoid some of these things. See, one is at a at a policy level, we have been doing it. Even if a policy is in place, is the BBMP or the municipal panchayat corporation cannot come and clean your house. It is you and me who have to do it. And we even at a single home. And definitely, when I write the bioresource flow, I used to make my students write this bioresource flow diagram. Okay, whatever you are contaminating the water, it is picked up by your vegetables very fast. And obviously the fruit crops, I think my soil scientists and all my leaf analysis people say it's eating a fruit is much better than a vegetable because the uptake of the toxicity takes many, many years. It may take about 15 years for you to get a contaminated mango vis-a-vis getting a contaminated cabbage in 3 months. So I think my other scientists will vouch for what I am saying. And then, especially when the cow consumes all these vegetables. See, many times, if you go in and around this Hurli, Chiknalli and other places where a lot of cabbage is grown, and when there are no rates, what people do is they allow all the cattle to feed on the cabbage. Oh my God, when it eats a lot of cabbage, it will have loose motion because of the very high sulfhydryl content in cabbage. It ends up that. So definitely, if you consume the milk, of course, this is a Holstein Friesian cow, which is shown on the photograph, or there may be red Dane over here. So definitely, this milk you will also consume. Whatever pasteurization has been done, it affects. And definitely, the fishes are the very, very important things where the toxicity of lead or whatever can accumulate very fast in the flesh as compared to other things. See, even, some people used to say, why they eat only the goat and they don't eat the pig. So, because the chances of a pig getting more contaminated and infection is much more as compared to a very herbivorous animal like a goat. So, I think this is where people also had their things. Yes, sir? Yeah, so now obviously how the runoff goes into the stream and then from there to the soil and the leachates we have already discussed. And then very toxic metals, how it enters into the food chain, they have already done. So there should be more awareness and less of bhashanbaji. That means, people are giving bhashan over bhashan and then everybody talks about the abhiyans and all that. So I think we should do it ourselves, carrying clean water and not dumping, especially, now the open defecation is also removed and government gives you about 20,000 rupees to construct a toilet. But still, when you go to the, recently, I gave a voice recording to our Ivarkanpura village. So they told, now just behind our IIHR, we have a village called Ivarkanpura village. So where they have put 1,000 rupees fine if somebody simply dumps something on the soil or on the open yard. They have identified a small place near that lake of Ivarkanpura, which touches our block 8 and 7. Okay, there is a small lake over there, and they have identified a open plot, and that is going to be converted into compost. That is wealth from waste. We also had recent programs of that. So everywhere, when we do a participatory rural appraisal exercise, we used to make people not only aware, but on a participatory approach, we see that how they should dump, what is aerobic respiration, anaerobic respiration. Already Selvakumar has told you about it. So this awareness, transforming and translating it to people is also a challenge for all of us, for you and me. Okay, we have already discussed and see, and now with the GPS and the GIS, okay, a very handy tool when you come. We also do the ground truthing of the data. We can definitely know in any geographical area where are the contaminated food, where is the toxicity. Red tells the toxicity, yellow is about 10 to 100 ppm. So like this also characterization has been done, and people have been, especially Madhav Gadgil and group, the environmental group at the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. Nowadays they run a 4-year integrated course in environmental science. So I had plans to put my daughter there. So that's a 4-year integrated course. See, today, environmental science on the same topic what we are giving, the plant, soil and the human health, not only to create awareness, to put it on a very large scale, people are trying it out. See, and some of my entomology friends say that the earth is losing around 2% of the insect annually. I see Sridhar himself over there was an entomologist, so I think he should vouch with me. This is a study by the National Academy of Sciences. So obviously, there is a subject in our ICR, that is this one, veterinary public health, where they deal with zoonotic diseases and how soil-borne diseases and how it can be controlled. Of course, there will be very few ARS seats for that. That will be about 2 or 3 seats. But I did find some of these students in my 20 years career. So they say that, all these volatile organic compounds, and especially how the bacteria, parasites and chemicals, they go into the soil, and the pesticides, they said obviously now we have the HRD wash technology coming from IIHR. So immediately, earlier we used to have the waiting period for harvest, before harvest, to reduce the pesticide residues. Now even with HRD wash, many of the pollutants and the residues can be washed off, and you can have a very safe things. And then the trophic levels, see, if the human beings is having 10, okay, at a trophic level, at every level it is increasing to the power of 10, okay, this is going in the logarithmic function. So at a molecular level, you can imagine the toxicity which increases. Oh my God, it will be not just the nano or the other scale, it will be 10 to the power 9 or 10 to the power 12, whatever. So that is going to be the toxicity level. So soil contaminants. See, and today, wherever you go, people think that soil is a free commodity. Only their land is a purchased commodity because it's a 30-40 site or a land, but they can dump it in the government land. Who told that government land is a free land? See, because government cannot take care everywhere, they have put the panchayats. Because panchayat cannot take care, they have put some representatives. But people think that only their land is land, and they can put everything on the panchayat or the government land. Very quite unfortunate situation. And look at how all this harmful polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. So they use the soil and the wastewater sludge. All these things they remove. Then contaminated soil removal. Definitely when there is a lot of contaminated soil, whether it is polluted by oil spillage or it is by garbage, definitely we have the fermenting technology, the cocoa peat or the this one, but definitely it cannot be only a remedy rather than a solution. You will have to remove the toxins from this, and look at this oil spillage here, and you will have to remove all this. All the soil pollution should be removed. Then suddenly causing forest fires, people smoking indiscriminately and putting here and there a dry grass, it catches fire. Oh, plastic bottles, don't tell me. Come on, oil spillage. Oh, look at this. Oh my God. So very close to the sea, and obviously all these things, this is a chemical laboratory where all these toxic materials can go into the water and enter the clouds and they come into the food chain. Okay, look at this. Look at this. So gentlemen, the food system is going to be contaminated. And this is one of our very famous students of the ICR. She is Veda Krishnan. She was my student in 2011, and then she is now a principal scientist at the IRI. She is a biochemist by profession. This is one of her important articles. How the plant health, the human health and the ecosystem health has affected. So this is exactly what Dr. Shivanand was asking me for the thing, and I found out this particular publication. And luckily I did not know that this Veda Krishnan is the same old Veda Krishnan. She obviously good. She talks about gut microbiome and then metabolic disorders, malnourishment and developing infections, all these things, because the soil takes the nutrients and all the microflora, both the gut, everything, this is going to be altered. So, and once when all these things goes, it can affect many other things, because it is a confounded experiment. See, it is like your N into P and N into P into K, and then the interaction effect. This is what statisticians say when you apply an RCBD or LSD, what's on. So you can read this article. I think it's one of the good articles by Veda. She's done a good job. Then, see, normally we say the poor people and poverty leads to more malnutrition and more diseases. It's true. See, because today getting a very healthy environment is also a costly place. So see how many How many flat systems or something have a common place, have a garden, or have a good garbage disposal in place? So until you shell down about 2 crore rupees, you don't get a good flat or a... See, today we can only purchase a flat, not a plot. So taking a plot itself became a luxury, and then having a healthy habit also became a luxury. So now organic food can be afforded only by the rich. The poor people have to eat all those contaminated foods, stale slums. So where is the social justice? So I am not here to say that all the rich fellows should start donating their flats to the poor people, and kindly don't misconstrue me. Construe, C-O-N-S-T-R-U-E. Okay, get my English right. So we should have one health, and then have this interaction here. So obviously it is now, after this lecture, you will know that the human, animal, and the environmental health, everyone needs to be healthy. Don't think that especially when you talk about the cow. See, you know what this dairymen do. Of course, there will be some person from our NDRA who also knows it, from the dairy industry. They give a lot of oxytocin. Oxytocin is a small hormonal injection. Okay, it is called the BGH, the bovine growth hormone. And this was actually showed in one of the movie called Brothers, which was done by Surya, had done a double acting. So what these people do is, in the milk foods, so they inject this bovine growth hormone into the cattle so that it gives a lot of milk. And normally a cow should live for 20 years with about 10 years of reproductive life. 10 times it can give calf. So, but now the milk is full of oxytocin, and that is actually a bovine growth hormone. And if such lactodex or Amul milk is consumed, whatever, I am not telling about the brand, definitely our children will have a higher hormonal level, bovine growth hormone. That's why you see, girls coming to puberty age, even at the age of 8 years, 9 years. Okay, in the olden days, they were coming to puberty at the age of 13, 14. So this advancement has come because of so many of these toxic elements and BGH, which is consumed by the cattle, and then we consume that milk, and then ultimately it is going into the thing. See, especially cancer also, I need not say. So many of these things we can give the answer. And obviously, the excreta should be made into a good compost, and sewage, all this, we conducted a lot of Swachh Bharat campaigns, both for the anaerobic and the aerobic fermentation, and obviously vermicomposting. Three topics we covered very recently, and then silage making. So all these things are becoming, this is called as microbial cycling. Already Selvakumar has told you about it. And then the public health is whose concern is see, when mad cow disease came, people stopped eating the beef. Or even during corona times, we used to discuss with our doctor many times. I was having a statistical data check. Suddenly the non-vegetarian consumption came down. Somebody told that the vegetarians will live, are more resistant to corona, and even today there's a gut feeling that the vegetarians can tolerate higher level of stress. See, I don't know, because there are two levels of judgment. One is at a perception level, other one is at a statistical data level. See, at a perception level today, everybody is turning vegan. Okay, vegan means they don't even take milk. So they say any animal product we don't want to take because we would like to become totally vegan, and vegetarianism is totally different. And then, when we talk about this famous Chaturmas Vrat, people keep, in the month of August they don't take milk, in some other month they don't take curd, in 1 month they don't take vegetables, in the last month they don't take any dicotyledonous plant. So in my house, my father, everybody used to do it. So I used to ask, and definitely if you Google it out also, you have...
Dr. Rao?
Yes, sir. Time up?
Yeah,
I will quickly...
Please sum up, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you, friends. We will quickly conclude for this opportunity. There is a definite relationship between the regenerative agriculture and the degenerative agriculture, and the relationship between the soil, the plant, and the human health is of utmost importance because of more the carbon dioxide assimilated by the green matter, okay, and then more the water. Definitely the no-till agriculture is much better as compared to the, look at the right side figure, where there is more carbon dioxide emission, and at the same time there is more evapotranspiration. You can apply the Penman's formula of evapotranspiration. And definitely we are promoting this sort of regenerative agriculture, and especially don't burn the stubbles, put everything into the organic matter, have a healthy life, and that will also give a better human health. Thank you very much, friends. Now it's open for discussion. Good luck.
Yeah, friends, now I would invite any one of you to seek clarifications from Dr. Rao. In fact, if I were to have given this same talk, I would not have done justice the way Dr. Rao has done. He has taken a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of involvement, and he has prepared the slides, and he has put everything together, wherein integrating soil, plant and human health in a single platform. Thank you, Dr. Rao. Anybody else, sir? Any of my friends would like to seek any clarification? Chat allowed? No. Okay. Friends, if none, I would like to profusely thank Dr. V.K. Raghavendra Rao for having given us this fantastic talk. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
I would like to invite Dr. Prasanna. I wish Dr. Sridhar would